Hey everyone, I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle. And look, I was on a flight to LA when I saw the news. And I thought, look, as much as I needed the break, I could not let tonight pass given the importance of this moment. Now, there are two big stories we're going to hit over the next hour. First, confirming what we've been telling you now for, I think it's like well over a year. There's a new coalition of voters forming in the United States who are turning away from the bleakness and despair of the Democrat Party and toward a more populist pro-America agenda led by Donald Trump. More on that later. And then, of course, the big news out of Cambridge. You can't say we didn't warn them. That's the focus of tonight's angle. With each passing day that Ms. Gay remains in office, the reputation and credibility of Harvard is damaged. Tell Ms. Gay to resign and tell the MIT president, Sally Kornbluth, to do the same. And if they don't resign, fire them. The truth is, all four of those college presidents who had come before Congress and then seemed to have trouble condemning genocide of Jews, they should have been forced to step down. And by the way, the lawyers who briefed them, fired. But only UPenn's Liz McGill was shown the door, as you recall. And I thought to myself, if these women were thick enough to have said what they said, then why would anyone have been surprised that at least one of them wouldn't be stupid enough to commit academic fraud? And the accusations of plagiarism against Claudine Gay, they started trickling out slowly. And you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Harvard tried to cover for her by essentially waving it off as Gay's malfeasance as just an oversight that could be corrected. Remember, they said it was just instances of inadequate citation. Well, those instances neared the number 50 yesterday, not just a few words here or there. Oh, unless you think lifting full paragraphs from another author's work is cool. I guess 50 must have been the magic number, though, because today Claudine Gay resigned as president. But when you read her statement, she doesn't at all sound remorseful for, or even, she doesn't mention, her plagiarism. But predictably, she plays the race card, claiming that she's been subjected to personal attacks and threats fueled by racial animus. Well, that was exactly what the media was waiting for. And the racial arsonist himself, Al Sharpton, said this is an attack on every black woman in the country who's put a crack in the glass ceiling. And then there was CNN's Jake Tapper.
I don't think it's fair to say all of her critics were racist, but certainly a few of them were.
There are people who have come straight out and said that they believe that Claudine Gay was only appointed because she's black, because she's a woman, but especially because she's black. I can't even imagine what she's had to face.
Okay, what she faced? What about all the candidates she beat out for the top job at Harvard who didn't plagiarize and perhaps whose academic work was not steeped in victimology and infused with what seems to be a twisted racial obsession? Look, I said this from the beginning. It was clear from the get-go that this controversy, left unaddressed, would eventually devour Harvard, and it practically did. Of course, hiring her in the first place was their first grave mistake. And that has nothing to do with race, by the way, thank you very much, and everything to do with basic competence, basic achievement. Gay's resignation tells us a lot about the rot that runs deep in some American universities. And importantly, it tells us that the hard left isn't strong enough to protect its own people, no matter how high up they get. And if you see a hard left person in a prestigious job, it's not because the hard left put him there. It's because the rich people who run the nation's major institutions want them there. And until today, the Harvard Corporation, the Board of Overseers, and most of the school's well-connected, very public big donors wanted Claudine Gay to stay as president. Now, people like Bill Ackman, well, he was one of the exceptions. But once the herd changed its mind, whenever that was, well, she didn't last long. In America, only populists have the energy and the wherewithal to stand up to the rich. Everyone else, including the hard left and the so-called moderate Republicans, they either go along with the rich or eventually they get crushed. So now the question is, how many other Claudine Gays are there in academia? Answer if you have that many fingers. I think you were created in a lab or something. Any professor or administrator of any color or any background doesn't need to be caught plagiarizing to be occupying an office that he or she never deserved. And the Ivies aren't suddenly going to stop being woke because of one resignation. J. Larry Jameson, you might not know him, but he was the man chosen as the interim president by UPenn when it canned Liz McGill. Now, he's been with the school since 2011, serving as its executive vice president for the health system and the dean of the Perelman School of Medicine. Well, here's what he's been up to since coming to Penn. After COVID and George Floyd, he made a point to ditch the traditional standards of excellence and merit that you'd expect in a medical school and put a focus on DEI, trying to make Penn medicine anti-racist, equitable, diverse, and inclusive. In June 2021, he promised cultural transformation at Penn Medicine, and later he talked about the importance of rooting out racism.
There are risks to broadening our selection criteria, but there are also risks to not embracing more diverse groups of future physicians. Innovation and diversity are symbiotic partners. I hope and I believe that we have reached an inflection point in the effort to root out racism and bias in medicine. Last year's widespread outrage over racial injustice has catalyzed an ongoing movement to effect enduring change.
Oh my gosh. There's so much to say about this man, but of course, this all has to mean that medicine at its core must be racist too.
Embracing diversity and inclusion will help us evolve more quickly and successfully. More diverse caregivers are essential to build trust in our profession, and this trust can accelerate closing health disparities.
Well, the other schools still have a shot here. Learn from this. Lose the woke and go for broke on merit, on excellence, and objective talent. There's a lot of it out there from every racial background and ethnicity. You'll be doing everyone a favor, and you'll be ending the tyrannical grip of the racial spoils system that's poisoned so much of American society. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.